does not dissolve when that happens.
The human never was. It was just an appearance.
But our appearance is still,
oh, yeah.
That body.
Yeah. The body stays for as long as the lifetime stays, yeah, until we drop it and move on to another dimension and another energy, you see. But everything that you think you are now, what we see as physical, is the being appearing as that. You see? In the same way when you walk and there's a light in front of you, the sun is shining and you see your shadow. The shadow is real, it's there, you can see it. But it's a shadow. And it's cast by your body. You see? So the body in this particular case is more real than the shadow. The shadow is just an appearance. Well, similarly with the being. The being is appearing now as my body. Every cell, every DNA, every energy, the trillions of cells that makes me who I look like, is the appearance of being. It is all being. If you were to look at my body and magnify it a few thousand times, you won't even see it. You see? Even what we call atoms, atomic energy, the atoms themselves. This is just a word that scientists came up with. There are no such thing as atoms. There's just energy. And it densifies, expands, and condenses. Expands, and condenses. When it condenses, it becomes matter, molecular structure. The wave becomes particle. Particle, molecular structure, right? So we have form. And then it expands and goes back to its wave principle. You see, there are thousands of different waves. Right now you can hear me because of the waves reaching your ears. You talk on the cellular phone, there are radio waves talking to somebody a mile away. You see, you watch television again for the same different waves that have video waves. You see, these are all different waves, and these waves can in time become particles. Right now, for example, science or technology is coming where you can create a person dancing in the middle of the room as if it's real, as if you can touch it. Okay, it's a holographic image. So we can come with all kinds of techniques, but all it is simply harnessing of that force of being, which is electromagnetic energy, and making it appear real. Right now we appear real to each other because of our senses. You see, the sense of touch, the sense of seeing, hearing, and feeling. But what is sense? You see? Let's go into looking at what is. What is a sense? And as you begin going deeper and deeper and deeper, you come back to the source and everything becomes clear. Everything is source. Source is playing as all different people, all different things happening. You see? And that's what peace of mind. People think that they're going to get peace of mind. You don't get peace of mind. You move to being. Being is peace. Peace is understanding that nothing ever happens. It just seems to happen. Nothing has ever begun. Nothing ends. Just is. Can you understand is? No, it is being. Who can understand being? The mind cannot. You see? But what is deeper than the mind? It is seeing. And seeing is not physical. It is the willingness. It is the willingness to go deeper than what you actually see, touch, hear. It is that seeing that takes you all the way. And all it takes is willingness. A strong drive, a love of the truth, love of the beloved. Which of course, that's what... Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I have one. If this is to do with time,
Mm-hmm.
the sense or feeling of time. So if I have no problem knowing that something happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and what that date was or what the date is today. So it has nothing to do with memory, per se. But the sense of time, like whether sometimes I can think, well, then gee, that happened 10 days ago, and that it feels like a moment ago, or it feels like 100 years ago. Like there's no sense of time.
No. In time, there's no sense of time. Because when you're caught in time, you see, it's all memory. I have to go back to that because it's all memory. But that memory does not have a sense of time per se. Otherwise we start seeing clearly. You see, it feels, because it's you see, in reality there's no such thing as time, there's only memory. Memory is an appearance, okay? So when we're talking about appearance, what makes it appear is memory. So
But
it's a very good
I used to have
question.
a sense of time and memory of time.
Yeah.
Now I experience memory of time, but no sense of time.
Okay. It doesn't matter, but it just...
Well, to me,
yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
question, because what is that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, you tell me. What is that?
It's,
Feel it.
I'm not asking from it that way. I'm asking from it as, it can become difficult in the real world because there's things I need to...
What do you mean by real world?
Well, when I function with other people during business hours.
Mm-hmm. And that's when we get caught in what we think is the real world, and then time becomes real to us.
Well, yeah, there needs
Yeah.
to be things that I need to get done and show up for, commitments,
Yeah,
to-do
yeah,
lists.
yeah.
So when there's no sense of time,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it doesn't. It can get done on its own, but it has a whole different pace, a much slower pace.
It depends upon your love and time.
So
let's go back to human and being, because that's what we were talking about, okay? The human is total time consciousness, total. Okay, and it, as a fact, not only is time conscious, but it cannot even feel the now. The human can never be now. When you come into now, you have gone into a space that contains everything that is present. You see? So, because everything that is present is contained within the now, the time called now. Now is pure being. That's what now is. Okay? But the human is always caught in time. So whenever we feel love, the moment there is love, it takes you away from the human and you go back into being. So you could fluctuate without realizing it. For example, let's say you're going to work, and so there's a sense of time. Oh, I have to be on time, I have to do this, I have to do that, I plan this, I plan that. This is all part of it. So you're caught in time. But then you get into a situation where, let's say you have a client, and you love this client. This client is so beautiful, everything is just flowing. You really resonate with this being. All of a sudden you lose all sense of time, because there's love. Okay? So this is what is happening to us in everyday life. We're going from the human to being, human and being, human and being. The point is to see that all the time being is there. When we start to function from being all the time, we begin to lose sense of time. You see, and we become more functional, more successful. And life then will appear to us as not as the world, but as a motion of being, as an experience of being.
The sense of time seems to dissolve.
Yes, when there is love.
Yet the activity still continues.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Activity never stops.
Right. So
Yeah.
the sense of time is.
Yeah.
That's just.
Activity is not dependent on. Time is not dependent on activity. It is dependent on consciousness. If your consciousness is based on what you love doing, time is irrelevant. Okay? If you're sitting on a hot stove, 1 second will feel like eternity. Okay? But if you're feeling great love for something, you enjoy it so much, you say, oh my gosh, an hour went by. Where did time go? You see? So it's a matter of love. When there is love, there is being. When there is being, there is no time. The moment you go into the human, it's all time-based, all of it. So we're all the time fluctuating. Now the ideal state of the human being is to integrate them both. When the human and the being become one, we call that a whole being. The whole being is aware of only one thing, being. He might appear human, but he is really divine. The awakened being is no longer human in the sense that we think human. You see, he's functioning from, for example, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Nothing could be more divine than that. He appeared human. His body was very weak. You see, by the time he was 70, we could hardly walk. You know, but you could see, you could feel in his energy that he wasn't in the body. There was no body home. He was just He was just essence, pure presence. See? Living from a particular form. So this is the whole evolution, yeah.